Greetings, Internet faithful. I'm some guy named Rob from On Your Marks Wrestling, and yes, it's been a long time. Yes, I am long overdue for one of these, but this is my Royal Rumble recap for the Royal Rumble 2019 from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm going to do a very quick recap of this, just some general thoughts and feelings on the event. I thought overall, for those of you who are interested in the TLDR, that the event was passable and even very enjoyable in certain spots. There were some very, very nice highlights and a lot of very weird moments. But overall, if I had to give it a grade, I would say it was a passing grade. Not the best pay-per-view. I don't even know if I like it better than last year's Royal Rumble, just because there was more excitement in things. But I have to say, yeah, not bad. Not bad overall. Definitely worth... Okay, let's start with the length, shall we? If you include the pre-show to this event, this was a 7-hour event. This took way too much time, and there was a lot of filler going on here. And I'll get into that as I move forward, but let's just start right off with some filler. Roode and Gable defending their titles, or I missed the opening to this, but what I ended up seeing was a match between Roode and Gable, the Raw Tag Team Champions, versus one of the Revival and one of the Authors of Pain. Why? I get that you want to have a tag match, and I get that you need something going on. You couldn't put together anything else? Scrap this match, put all 4 guys in the Royal Rumble, or at least a couple of these guys in the Royal Rumble, and let them have some fun there, especially Roode. This is the second year in a row that he's on the pre-show for the Royal Rumble. He defended the U.S. title in an open challenge last year, and this year he's jerking the curtain on the pre-show. I don't get it. What has Roode done to annoy management? This was filler, should have gotten rid of it. Next matchup, another filler match, which half of the participants ended up in the Royal Rumble anyway, so I'm not sure what the point of all this was. Rusev versus Nakamura. I don't see what this match did for either of these guys. Nakamura is better than the U.S. title that he regained. Rusev needs and deserves better than this. He needed an extended push. He deserves an extended push. I don't know if he's still being punished for the fact that he got over without management's authority for the whole Rusev Day thing. But yeah, it's just terrible. I don't know why they can't book Rusev. He's charismatic. People want to get behind him. He could be a huge superstar for them if they would just actually put some faith in him. Overall, the match was pretty solid, although the end sucked. I thought the ending to this match was terrible. And it really did, of course, foreshadow the fact that there was going to be a replacement for Lana in the Rumble. And of course, anyone who'd been viewing the rumor sheets already knew that it was going to be Becky Lynch. Spoiler, she won, but you already know that. Anyway, we move from there to a Cruiserweight Fatal 4-Way. Honestly, great match. Great finish to this match. Every Cruiserweight match is solid. The more men you add to the matches tend to be better and better. I thought that the 4 competitors that were in there meshed very well. I really liked the ending. I liked that Murphy retained. He needed this, but he needed this on the main show. He didn't need this on the pre-show. We got to get the 205 Live guys involved in the main part of a pay-per-view. No one is taking 205 Live really seriously because we're basically told by the way that they're booked and marketed that they're not meant to be taken seriously. They're kind of a warm-up act. They're not meant to be the main event. They're not meant to be what you came to see, and that's kind of wrong. We then get to the actual pay-per-view, and it opens hot with Asuka versus Becky Lynch for the WWE SmackDown Women's title. Great match, fantastic finish. Honestly, this is the pairing that if you go back to my original Royal Rumble video from last year, and even the one that Lee and I recorded together, the roadmap that I had for Asuka was to win the Rumble, go on to WrestleMania, beat Charlotte Flair, only to have the title taken away by Becky Lynch. This was the pairing that I thought would eventually lead to having Asuka's streak and title taken away from her. This was a close second best. I do like the fact that they gave Asuka a significant win. This was a very, very important win for Asuka. It legitimizes her as a champion to have beaten one of the best women on the roster, basically, in a one-on-one match, and it was a clean finish. So that was very much needed. Glad it happened. The next match, again, this was filler as far as I'm concerned. The Bar versus Shane and Miz, and I don't know why the Bar are constantly asked to lose their titles cleanly against opponents who have no business being champions. They had to drop it to Braun Strowman and a 10-year-old at WrestleMania, and now they have to drop it to The Miz and an out-of-shape 45-year-old that I'm somehow supposed to take seriously as a champion in the WWE. Taking Shane McMahon seriously as a champion in the WWE, I have the same problem that I did at last year's WrestleMania with trying to take Stephanie McMahon seriously as a legitimate wrestling competitor when put into a match against Ronda Rousey. You've got, what's essentially a soccer mom who's taken a few CrossFit classes going up against the former bantamweight UFC champion of the world, who is also a bronze medalist in judo at the Olympics, who is a legit badass. Yeah, I can't take any of this seriously. It's just Shane McMahon was out of gas 2 minutes into the match, and yet I'm supposed to treat him like he has gone to war with legitimately one of the best tag teams of the last 10 years. Didn't like it, but whatever. They have to do something. I guess they felt that they needed to shake things up a bit. I'm okay with this title switch provided one thing happens, and that is they're going to give it to these guys and let them run with it until maybe WrestleMania, and then have guys like the Undisputed Era debut, come in and win the titles. Because honestly, I think that would be legitimately amazing. Hopefully these guys are transitional champions because they're not doing anything to really enhance the tag division. If anything, they're taking away from it. They're making it even more of a joke than it was already. We then move to the the Raw Women's Championship match, Ronda Rousey versus Sasha Banks. I thought this match was okay, but it felt too slow. It really didn't have an up-tempo feel to it. It lasted a little bit too long. And it didn't help that I completely didn't care about this match. Clearly, they were going to protect Ronda Rousey because they need her as the anchor for that mainstream star that they've been lacking since The Rock has left the WWE. There's no crossover appeal with any of the other superstars like you had with people like Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock and Mick Foley. And basically, your Attitude Era guys into your Ruthless Aggression, the ones who could get that mainstream kind of attention. You don't have that anymore. So you need Ronda Rousey. She's the one that's going to get you those international headlines. So you got to keep the belt on her. You got to keep her keep making her look strong. Again, I thought the match was a little bit too long, although I did like the ending. I liked the way that it transitioned into the ending. I think that with Rousey having cost Flair and Lynch a chance to win the triple threat ladder match at TLC, it was an interesting decision to go with a clean finish. And also, did we need 5 minutes of post-match hugs to set up a 4 horsewomen angle? I thought that took way too long to develop. It took way too long to execute, and it just made things run on longer than they should have. This is going to set a trend, by the way. We get to the 30-woman Royal Rumble. Thank God, no Stephanie McMahon on commentary. No Stephanie McMahon to be found anywhere, which I find absolutely refreshing. But did they need to open with Lacey Evans? I mean, I could hear people in the crowd legitimately asking who the hell she was. And did they seriously need to give her a microphone to tell people who she was? Don't we have enough irritating pre-match mic workers like the Iconics? And holy shit, did Evans look sloppy to start the match. Her transitions with Natalya were horrible. It looked bad. It really looked bad. She did not look like a good NXT call-up for like maybe the first like 6 or 7 minutes of this match. Some other random thoughts from the Royal Rumble as people were coming in. I see that Liv Morgan played the role of Bushwhacker Luke this year, with Billie Kay playing the role of Heath Slater. Nikki Cross loved the energy, but she would have been perfect for somewhere in the late teens, early 20s when the match really start to lull. Peyton Royce was playing the role of the worst goddamn women's wrestler ever. She's terrible. And before people start going, well, what about Dana Brooke? You know what? Dana Brooke looked amazing in comparison to Peyton Royce. Peyton Royce has looked like shit ever since she's been called up. She can't throw a punch, she can't throw a kick, she can't do anything. Her execution is absolutely horrible. She's irritating on the microphone. She is completely superfluous to the women's division, as is Billie Kay. Get rid of both of them. Send them to AEW. No one's going to give a shit. Xia Li, or I hope I'm pronouncing that right, she's damn impressive. Like, literally no snark to give her. Sarah Logan, on the other hand, looked winded before she hit the ring. Like, just coming out to the ring, she looked winded halfway down the aisle. Get that woman to a treadmill. Get her some cardio. She's very impressive, but holy crap, she looked legitimately gassed by the time she got to the ring for the first couple minutes. Having a look at Charlotte Flair's smile. Is she sponsored by Crest White Strips or liquid paper? Because those things are like fucking radioactive, glowing out of her mouth. Kairi Sane and the Insane Elbow, completely awesome. Maria Kanellis, why? Why was she in this match? She wasn't very good. She wasn't very compelling. She didn't really advance any storylines for anybody, so I don't get what's going on. And are they trying to make Naomi the Kofi Kingston of the women's division in terms of the Royal Rumble with the saves? And with that completely like rapid fire elimination after she pulls off like the feat of acrobatics to get herself back to the ring. It's really nice to see that WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal push is really paying off for Naomi. Alicia Fox, was she drunk the entire time? I think she looked like she was drunk the entire time that she was in the Rumble. From the time that she was announced to the time that she was eliminated, she looked hammered. It wouldn't surprise me if she was completely shit-faced for that entire time that she was in the ring. Speaking of in and around the ring, the triple team thing from the Riot Squad was lame, but I understand why they did it. They had to spice things up a little bit because the match kind of got boring at a certain point, which again would have been better if they had Nikki Cross. The whole Zelina Vega thing being under the ring is just, it was even worse than the triple team thing from the Riot Squad. Rhea Ripley is impressive as hell. Holy shit. Get that woman onto the main roster. I know that WWE UK needs her, but man, was she impressive to see. And really, Hornswoggle? Did they have to break out Hornswoggle? Okay, back to the good stuff. I really loved Bayley's mean streak. Why have they never turned her heel yet? She is a natural in the ring working as a heel. And again, as I said before, anybody who didn't see Becky Lynch replacing Lana from the pre-show should be declared too stupid to live. Finally, the whole Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair thing at the end of the match where they had, Becky being, pushed off the steps and tweaking her knee and this, that, and the other. They dragged that on way too long. You could have fit an entire other match in the time it took to get Becky Lynch back into the ring to finish the Rumble. But overall, the right person won. I'm really glad they didn't give it to Flair. It's good to see Becky finally being recognized as being the most over woman on both rosters. She is legitimately the best women's wrestler that they have right now. She is getting the most adulation. She's getting the most attention. She has the fans behind her. Give it to her and run with it. It's really the recipe for making all the fucking money in the world. We get to Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. The next two matches I think were in the wrong order because this was not the match you wanted to follow. That kind of big, heavy, like emotional uplift that the crowd was on after Becky Lynch won the Rumble. You should have followed with Finn Balor and Brock Lesnar because Finn Balor could have kept the energy going, whereas Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles came off as being a little bit dull. The match was too slow. It needed a stipulation of some kind. A first blood stipulation would have been great, or a submission match. The commentary, even the commentary was too low-key. It was too low-key. It was too quiet. It was too calm, too reserved. They needed to inject more energy into this match, and it just didn't happen. And while I get that they're pushing the new Daniel Bryan, AJ gave away way too much. I don't think they let AJ have enough offense in there. He took way too many of the heavy bumps, and the Dusty finish was just fucking horrible. It actually legitimately pissed me off. I really hated the way that they ended this match. This match deserved a better ending, and AJ Styles in general deserves matches to end with actual endings. I don't think he's had a proper ending to a match ever in like the last year and a half, at least the last year, certainly since the last Royal Rumble. You know, he's been booked in all these really stupid endings, controversial endings, dusty finishes, and shit like that. It just really, really irritates me. We get to our penultimate match, which is Brock Lesnar versus Finn Balor. Again, that should have been the one in the place of the Daniel Bryan AJ Styles because, one, Finn Balor would have kept the crowd alive. And two, the match was damn entertaining. I really liked this match, even though it was really short. Or a lot shorter than I expected, especially considering how long Daniel Bryan AJ Styles got to go at it. And, you know, AJ Styles and Brock Lesnar and Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar, I thought they would give Finn Balor a little bit more time. I do think that leading up to this, they completely missed the opportunity to have the Demon King face the Beast. That would have been perfect. That would have really kept the crowd involved. They literally had the potential to do something to make it a lot more of an interesting story than David versus Goliath, but this was a really good match. Although, there is a caveat. Although I liked the match, I really liked the finish. I thought the finish made both competitors look great. Unless they plan to do a follow-through of any kind with Finn Balor versus Brock Lesnar, hopefully involving the Demon King sort of persona, I don't see the point of the post-match beatdown other than to fill time, which really wasn't this pay-per-view's problem. This pay-per-view did not need more filler. It did not need more filler. The point of, hopefully that goes somewhere, because I don't know if it will. Finally, we get to the Men's Royal Rumble, and honestly, all signs leading up to this pointed to two people who had legitimate claim to winning the Royal Rumble. Lo and behold, it ended up being the two guys who were last. And no, I didn't take Drew McIntyre seriously for a second. I knew that he would look good, but there was no way they were going to hotshot him over guys like Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins, especially considering the finish to the match that just happened. And that's one of those things that you run into with this event, is because they're very hesitant to actually change who the title holder is, it makes the Rumble matches a little bit predictable. However, let's go with my thoughts on the Men's Royal Rumble. One, starting off 15 minutes before the pay-per-view was scheduled to end, according to my cable company, it looked really stupid. This started at 10:45, and I thought the pay-per-view was going to 11. It ultimately ended up going till midnight. I don't give a shit about JBL or the King. They can, you know what? The commentary on this match was the worst. It was one of the worst pay-per-view commentary type matches that I've had in a while, and it sucked. It actually, the having JBL and the King there made the match worse. I also don't give a fuck about Cena not being in the match, and if they do another one of those, what's Cena's Road to WrestleMania going to be storylines again this year, I'm going to cancel the WWE Network, and I'm probably going to stop watching main roster entirely and not give a fuck about the WWE anymore, because I can't stand hearing about John Cena. Onto the match itself. Elias's number one was probably the only way to let him do his shtick, which is kind of sad because you know he's not going to really be around at the end of the match. Lo and behold, he wasn't. Jeff Jarrett is number two. Did we really need a second comedy spot right away? And Kurt Angle is number four. Like, were they getting in all the Hall of Famers like as early as they could because it was past their bedtimes? More thoughts on the Rumble. Every time I hear Johnny Gargano's music hit, I feel like I'm about to see an episode of Saved by the Bell. Like, we preempt this match to bring you Saved by the Bell, the college years, and then Johnny Gargano comes out to the ring. I see that Jinder Mahal was playing the role of Liv Morgan in this Rumble. Samoa Joe, being as over as he is without ever having held a title in the WWE, is criminal, and this needs to be rectified. This needs to end. Samoa Joe needs a push. He needs a title push of some kind, even if it's a tag team push. And I see that Curtis Hawkins is playing the role of Hornswoggle in this Rumble. We're not even 12 people in. We've had about maybe a half dozen comedy spots. Not good. Not good. Lots of filler. Not a lot of meat in the stew, so to speak. Did Kofi Kingston leave his pecs back at the hotel? What happened to that man's pectoral muscles? Like, holy crap. Like, I know he's in really good shape, but he used to be, like, pretty beefy. I don't know if he's got some sort of tissue damage or something, but man, dude's got no pectoral muscles anymore. I see that No Way Jose is playing the role of Santino Marella in this Rumble. And as Xavier Woods makes a quick exit, I'm running out of people to make fun of for the quick exits, like of all time. There are a lot of really fast eliminations in this Rumble, certainly compared to the women. And I think part of it was because they were going so damn long. Pete Dunne, Bruiserweight, love this guy. He needs to be on the main roster. We need more Pete Dunne. I think he would be fantastic on the main roster. I see that Andrade Cien Almas is playing the role of Uma Thurman's stunt double from Kill Bill in this Rumble. Well, what was up with that getup? Like, really, he looked like he just came from a Tarantino convention. Black Mass, man, was that a thing of beauty when done right, knocking Dean Ambrose out. Does Ahmed Johnson know that Shelton Benjamin took his ring gear for this Rumble? Something else I'm amazed Seth Rollins didn't clutch his knee as soon as he got put through the table, and the fact that Rollins was put through the table and, quote, knocked out of the match. You knew right then and there he was going to win the Rumble. It was so far telegraphed that they even the announcer team, their tone of voice kind of changed. I was genuinely surprised by Nia Jax entering into the fray. I thought that was kind of cool, but not really sure how I feel about 3 straight finishers being hit on a woman, with 2 of them being kicks to the face, and the crowd really being into a woman getting kicked in the face. That kind of seemed weird. Now, on the other hand, I will say one thing. She was put into the ring with 3 of the safest people you could possibly put them with. Ziggler, Orton, and Rey Mysterio. They're not exactly guys who are known for injuring their opponents. They're known as very, very safe workers. So if you're going to put your hands in, if you're going to put your fate into the hands of people, like, those are the people I'm going to pick. So at least there was that. And of course, we get to the final 2, Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins, the 2 that everybody had been, like, they've been pushing Braun for over a year and a half. Seth Rollins basically was handed the mantle that really was going to be for Roman Reigns when Roman Reigns went down with leukemia. And with everything that they've been doing on television with Seth Rollins, you knew he was going to win the Rumble, and lo and behold, he won. So yeah, that was, and even as far as rapid fire goes, I'm amazed I got a 7-hour pay-per-view recapped in under 25 minutes. I don't know when my next video is going to be. I don't know when it's going to be. Maybe I'll do Raw for Monday night. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I'm going to see how things go over the next couple days, because honestly, I'm still not seeing a road to WrestleMania that makes me excited to watch yet another what's going to be at least a 7 or 8 hour spectacle. If I have to set aside 1/3 of my waking hours, well, not even my waking hours, 1/3 of the entire number of hours in a day to a pay-per-view event, this better be a goddamn good pay-per-view event. So far, not really seeing it. I'm going to have to see where Raw and SmackDown take me. Maybe I'll love it. Maybe I'll hate it. Maybe I'll comment on it. I can't guarantee when the next video is coming out, but I did feel an obligation to do this video, especially since this marks 1 year since the idea for this channel came into being. So until next time, take it easy, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. And that's all I got for now.